Hey guys, Daniel's son. Welcome to the channel, and we are back with this Audi Q5. Now, as you guys know, I already sold it. I think I mentioned it on one of Car Wizard's videos, and yes, the buyer is waiting very patiently. Now, you can see it's a little bit dirty, and the reason being it's been sitting outside for about 2.5 months. The tag was expired because I only got it for like a month, and it's just been sitting out there because that's how long I had to wait for the title. I've never had to wait for a title before. Coming from Florida, it was pretty much instantly. You would get it right there. Here, I had to wait 2 months to get it. Now, luckily, like I said, the buyer is super patient, and he's like, as soon as the title gets here, we'll make a deal. Now, he's ready to buy it. I told him it's like I need 1 more week to finish up a few things, which is that table over there I'm going to be showing you here in a minute, and we got to get it done. Okay, so this is pretty much last week. We can't put it off any longer, so I'm just gonna finish up, get it done, get it out, and get the money. Maybe I'll make a video on how much money we actually made on this car. So like I said earlier, it's been sitting for a while, but I actually drove it for, I think, roughly a month before the tag expired. I put some serious miles on it. The car's been performing very well. No fault codes, no weird noises, other than some suspension noises, which I'll be talking about that here in a second. But as you can see, there's not much left to fix to get it out of here. The windshield, he's gonna take care of it. There's like in the front grille, which I'll show you here in a second, there's like this bubbling from the fake chrome or plastic chrome, whatever it is. He doesn't care because he wants to put a different grille on it. So again, it's been driving great. Everything's been awesome on that car. It drives very well. Now, there is some suspension noise, and it's just from these upper control arms in the front. You actually, whenever you brake, you get that motion from the upper side of the knuckle. Kind of the wheel moves back and forth when you're driving. Makes a pretty loud noise when you brake. Now, these are cheap, easy to replace, so we're just gonna take care of that before the car leaves. Now, the other thing was very simple. These are just the little holders for the sun visors. So one of them is broken. Luckily, I got 2. I might just replace them both so they match, because sometimes they're a little bit faded. So I got 2 of those. And then the big one, which is that sunshade. So from Audi, this piece right here is about $500. I picked one up from Amazon for about $120. So that's a lot better. Now, I believe it's a little bit involved to replace this, so we are gonna get as far as we can. Also, I hope you're liking the Ferrari in the background. I don't know if you can see it that well, but yeah, I'm pretty excited about that one. So real quick, I want to show you the blemishes on, the cosmetic stuff on the car that he doesn't really care about. Like I said, he's going to change the grille, but you can see that weird delamination on the chrome. And then up here, we have the cracked windshield. Also, like I said, it's pretty dirty. It's been sitting for, I think, about 2 months or maybe a month and a half when the tag expired. And then in here, the sunshade is the one that tore up and got all pretty much destroyed, as you can see. We're gonna start with the front suspension. Now, you in the comments might think, why don't you start with the sunshade, because you're clean and you don't want to stain the headliner or the sunshade itself. Unfortunately, I'm already kind of dirty because I had to move some cars around, and I had to help the car wizard here because he was here filming. And I also had to put this thing on the lift. So I'm not that clean right now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get the suspension done because I wanna pull it off the lift and do it in just an open space where I can open all the doors and be comfortable doing the sunshade. So let's get this front suspension done, and then we'll scrub ourselves down so we don't get anything stained on the interior. These 2 dog bones right here are the ones that we're gonna be changing. There's one here, which is kind of like behind this one, you can't really see it. And then this one, obviously. Luckily, we can actually remove this without removing the whole strut. Some of these cars, especially on Bentley, you have to remove the whole strut because they're so close to the strut. You actually have to remove this top hat from the strut to be able to get those bolts out. On this one, we don't have to do that. It's gonna be way easier. And then obviously we gotta take this long bolt that attaches these 2 to the knuckle. Sorry about that. It might have been a little bit dark for you guys. Now that we have the nuts off, everything is loose, we're gonna lower the car actually, and then we're gonna put a jack underneath the knuckle here, and we're gonna load up the suspension a little bit so we take some tension off these arms so we can just replace them easily without having to force any of these bolts with a hammer or anything like that. So I got the suspension a little bit loaded. As you can see, the bolts are a little bit easier to get them out. Okay, maybe not all of them. We're gonna have to tap that one a little bit. I forgot to show you the reason why we're replacing these. You can't really see too much on this side because the bad side, if I remember correctly, is the passenger side, but you can kind of see the tear right there, right in that area right here. Kind of see it. The other one's a little bit better, but that is the reason we are replacing these. That causes excessive play up here, which makes the top of the knuckle just move back and forth really hard, causing the wheel to move back really hard, move back and forth really hard. So it's very annoying, especially when you brake and are like pulling in and out, like putting the car in reverse and drive and moving. You'll feel that shift back and forth. Now these are marked. So you can see it has a big L on it because it's for the left side, and then the two for the right side will have an R on it. Now that these are just in, bolt and not just holding it in place, we are going to lower the car back down and going to put load on the suspension because that'll straighten everything out and make it easier for me to pop these in these and then tighten it with load on the suspension. You never want to tighten these like down like this because whenever you start going up, it'll actually put load in the bushing up here and tear it because you'll put the weight and it'll put a twisting force on the actual bushing, and as it goes up, boom, it tears the bushing and you have to redo all of this again with new parts. So you always want to tighten them where the car sits at normal ride height. So we're going to load up the suspension and then we're going to tighten these upper control arms and then we should be good. So we are done with the driver's side. We're going to jump over to the passenger side, get this one done. Obviously, I'm going to speed it up a little bit because you don't need to watch that again. Now that we're all done with the front, I already torqued the wheels, did everything. We even put the undersheet back on since I hadn't done that. So that's all taken care of. Everything is torqued. Now we are gonna move on to the sunshade. Now I also put in the sun visor clips real quick. That only took like 2 seconds. They just kind of pop off, pop the new one in. That was pretty easy. So I just went and did it off camera because the phone was actually dying. I've been using my phone as the camera for the channel, so it was just out of battery already. So I had to wait until it charged. So I went and got some lunch, whatever. But now we're back and we're gonna go ahead and start taking these off, and then we're gonna start working in the back and stuff like that and see how to get this thing out. There's a couple of videos that I've been checking out to see how to do this properly. But again, I'm gonna be learning with you guys on this one. Now this Audi actually comes with a special wrench for this roof rack. It's actually a little torque wrench. So I don't know if you can see that. You turn the wrench until those two little markers line up and then boom, 6 Newton meters. And you tighten it correctly. had to figure it out for a little bit, so I kind of just set up the stage, I guess. So I dropped the seats, made some room in here. So there's 6 screws or bolts that hold that glass right here, because we need to remove this glass. The first thing you do, you have to take the actual sunroof glass that moves. You gotta put it all the way back, and you gotta get 2 screws that are right there. They're really easy to get. And then there's 2 more on the inside, which I'll show you here in a minute. But I already got those out. I'm ready to actually pull the glass out, and then we're gonna work here in the back and then try to figure out how to do that part. These are the screws that I was talking about. You pull this down from the inside, you take them out. There's 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. On top of the car, you can see there's these little tabs here. They're actually popped in like that, and there's a screw there. So you pop them off, and they're gonna be like this. Basically, that reveals the mechanism in this area, and we just kind of pop the weather stripping off. You kind of lift this up, and then you slide that up and out. Same on this side, and then that's it. It pops right off. Now you see, you know, I'm not doing everything live. I kind of just do it and then go back and film it, just because I have no idea what I'm doing right now. So, kind of learning with you guys. You can see that's all, this is still stuck in there, but there's a bunch of broken stuff in there. Now luckily it's all one assembly and I can replace the whole thing. So I got some bad news, unfortunately. So the sunshade that I was installing, I already had it installed, and as I'm installing the cloth into the motorized rails, the coils that actually kind of retract that cloth came undone. And unfortunately I tried for like 30 minutes to fix it, and I could not. So unfortunately I have to buy a new one and redo this whole job again. Obviously I'm not gonna put it back together. Luckily I'm in the wizard shop, so I can leave it inside where it doesn't get rained in on the top glass. So it's gonna be disassembled for when the new one comes in and we are able to do it. Now I'm gonna show you a little bit of what kind of happened. As you can see, here is where the cloth actually sits. It's kind of rolled up in here in this area, and these caps right here are kind of like holding it from going side to side and the coils in place. I'll show you what the coils look like here in a second, but as you can see, these caps are not very aligned. This is a cheap Chinese part that I bought off Amazon. It was like $120. Maybe that was my mistake there, which I'm pretty sure it was. But again, it seemed like perfectly fine until I actually got it in there perfectly aligned, and then I saw that the coil was pulled out, and when I actuated it with the actual button, it would not come out, and I saw the binding happening. So I believe what happened is when these went in, these didn't align perfectly and they were out. I could not see them because it's very hard to see. I tried removing more panels, kind of dropping the headliner a little bit more to be able to see it clearly, but nothing. I guess that was my mistake there. So yeah, also the metal on this thing is extremely flimsy and sharp. I already cut myself on this thing like 3 or 4 times. So yeah, honestly, yeah, terrible idea. So there is a little bit of hope, I think. So I can actually just buy the cloth roll and just kind of just put it in there. And these are much stronger, as you can see, and better lined up. And I think that's what I'm gonna do. Why? Because the cloth is way cheaper than just buying the whole assembly. And honestly, from Audi, I think it's like $500. That cheap Chinese one, which was not worth it, was $120. And the cloth, I think I can pick one up for about $50. And by using the structure of the old one, I should be able to get it done properly this time. But I still have to wait to get a new cloth. So it has to stay disassembled. So I'm gonna leave it here in the wizard shop where it doesn't get rained on. So this is kind of an unexpected ending. So basically, the Q5 is not done. I did get the new part. So I did get the new insert, and I'm using the old shell or cartridge or whatever you want to call it. It is far stronger than whatever I can buy from Amazon or from China, I guess. Now, obviously, I'm not going to buy the OEM one. The OEM one is way too expensive. It's like $600. It's ridiculous. And I get it, you know what I mean? It is far stronger than anything you can buy from China. But the cloth is the same quality. So I decided to basically buy a Chinese cloth and use the factory cartridge. Now, the problem of why this thing is not back together is because right here, where the cloth this piece right here, this black piece, there's a rod that slides across this that actually attaches to the motors on the rails to be able to close. So I did save that part, and I have that part. Where is it? No idea. I kept it safe, but I guess I kept it safe for myself because I can't find it. I've been looking for 2 hours. I have no idea where it is. And unfortunately, it's been too long already. It's been about 2 weeks. Unfortunately, last week, I couldn't really work on anything. I got hurt at work. I pulled a muscle on my back. I had to, like, I don't know, lay down for like 3 days straight pretty much. And I wanted to get better as soon as possible so I didn't have to miss any more time at work. There's plenty of cool projects that I've been working on here at the shop, and I want to get them done. Okay, so I really appreciate you guys watching and following me throughout these situations. All that stuff happens all the time. It's, you know, it is what it is. It's just, I've been doing this for 10 years and it hasn't changed. Things always happen. Now, again, I really appreciate you guys watching. So yeah, thank you for watching.